What happened in this congressional hearing just exposed everything. Because one congressman asked a simple question about the Epstein files, and the Attorney General's answer revealed something nobody expected. The room went completely silent. Congressman Joe Neguse sat across from Attorney General Pam Bondi with a 3-ring binder full of evidence. And what he was about to reveal would change the entire conversation about the Department of Justice. This wasn't a typical political hearing. This was a documented exposure of how power protects itself. Pam Bondi had just posted online that if you come for law enforcement, the Trump administration will come for you. She positioned herself as the defender of police officers across America. But then Neguse played a video. The video showed body cam footage from January 6th. A man is screaming at police officers. He calls them disgusting. He calls them Nazis. And then the man yells, "Kill him." Neguse looked directly at Bondi and asked one question. "That man works for you now, doesn't he?" The Attorney General confirmed it. His name is Jared Weissy. He was indicted for forcibly assaulting and interfering with police officers. And Pam Bondi hired him to work at the Department of Justice. When Neguse pressed her, Bondi gave a simple answer. President Trump pardoned him. Not that he was innocent, just that he was pardoned. The message was clear. Loyalty to the president matters more than assaulting police. But that wasn't the most damaging part. Neguse moved to his next question. He asked about PIN, the Public Integrity Section of the Department of Justice. This office was created after Watergate to investigate corruption within the federal government. When Bondi took office, PIN had 35 employees. Neguse asked how many work there now. She tried to deflect. She tried to change the subject. But Neguse answered it himself. 2 people. Bondi had reduced the office responsible for prosecuting corrupt politicians by over 90%. The only office designed to investigate government corruption had been gutted. Then Neguse asked about the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. This unit investigated financial crimes involving digital assets. Neguse asked how many people work there today. Bondi refused to answer. He already knew. The entire unit had been eliminated. 0 employees. And the timing makes this significant. Because President Trump made $1.4 billion through cryptocurrency holdings over the last year. A specialized law enforcement unit investigating crypto crimes was destroyed while the president made over $1 billion in crypto. That's not coincidence. That's conflict of interest. But the most disturbing revelation came from a photograph. During the hearing, someone took a picture of Bondi's binder. Inside was a document titled Jayapal Premier Search History. Representative Pramila Jayapal had gone to the Department of Justice 23 hours earlier to review the Epstein files. She was doing her constitutional duty, and the DOJ was tracking her. They recorded every file she opened, every search query, every page viewed. Then they put that information in a binder and brought it to the hearing to attack her politically. This is surveillance of Congress by the executive branch. This is the DOJ spying on the people who oversee it. This violates the separation of powers. The speech or debate clause says members of Congress cannot be questioned in pursuit of their legislative duties. Courts ruled that tracking what Congress looks at is unconstitutional. Bondi's DOJ violated that principle. They tracked Jayapal's searches, compiled the data, used it as a weapon. Here's what makes this worse. The Epstein files released by Bondi's DOJ included nude photographs of victims. Private details that should have been redacted were exposed. While powerful predators' names were blacked out, survivors' details were not. Survivors testified they couldn't even get a meeting with DOJ, but DOJ had resources to track a congresswoman's search history in 23 hours. They could spy on lawmakers, but couldn't protect victims. Joe Neguse laid this out methodically. He didn't yell. He presented evidence. A January 6th defendant who assaulted police now works at DOJ. The corruption office reduced to 2 people. The crypto team eliminated while Trump made billions, and Congress surveilled by the agency it oversees. Bondi tried to defend herself. She said she was ending weaponization of DOJ. She claimed the previous administration used DOJ against opponents. But facts destroy that defense. Ending weaponization doesn't require hiring someone who yelled, "Kill him" at police. It doesn't require gutting the Corruption Investigation Office. And if you're against weaponization, why are you caught with a burn book containing private search history of your opponents in Congress? That is weaponization. The professional judgment on Bondi is unanimous. Neguse is a former impeachment manager who prosecuted Trump. Representative Jamie Raskin called Bondi's conduct a disgrace. He said DOJ became a vendetta factory. Gary Kalman from Transparency International said eliminating anti-corruption task forces will diminish America's ability to counter corruption. These are experts, and they're saying the same thing. DOJ is being systematically dismantled. But there's resistance. Grand juries in D.C. repeatedly rejected baseless indictments from Bondi's appointees. On February 10th, a grand jury refused to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers. DOJ tried to charge them for urging military members to resist illegal orders. The grand jury saw it as criminalizing political speech. This was rejection of Bondi's prosecutors by ordinary citizens. The House Judiciary Committee issued a formal demand. They gave Bondi until February 20th to provide a list of Congress members whose searches were tracked. They want to know how many staff spied on lawmakers. If she doesn't comply, the next step is subpoenas. If Democrats take the House, they'll force sworn testimony from every official involved. DOJ faces a federal lawsuit over dismantling the Community Relations Service. A federal judge ordered improvements at an ICE detention center, calling conditions a violation of law. The oversight process has begun. Evidence is on record. Courts are watching. Congress demands answers. What Neguse did wasn't just ask questions. He built a documented case. He showed the chief law enforcement officer hired a man who attacked police. He proved the Corruption Investigation Office was gutted. He revealed the Financial Crimes Unit was eliminated while the president made billions. And he exposed Congress being surveilled by the executive branch. Bondi claimed she defended law enforcement but hired someone who assaulted them. She claimed she ended weaponization but carries lists of what opponents search for. She claimed she did her best with Epstein files, but victims' photos were published while predators' names were hidden. The gap between what she says and does is undeniable. This hearing was the exposure of a justice system turned into a protection racket for power. When the Attorney General brings a burn book to congressional testimony, the transition from law enforcement to political weapon is complete. Neguse proved it with documents, with timelines, with her own words. And now the question isn't what they'll do next. The question is whether our institutions are strong enough to stop what they've already done.